Dr. Sinkala?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank the panelists for joining me here and for this opportunity to discuss this very important matter. My view has been very different from most of the analysts who've been talking about the causation, failure to understand the causation of the violence within South Africa and failure to understand the history where South Africa is coming from, where it was built on the premise of a promise for a better life for all. It's now 25 years. Those who were 30 years, 25 years ago, they are almost 60, supposed to be in retirement. But again, the review has been very critical in terms of service delivery within the ambience of the South African government. South Africa is not free as an angel in terms of service delivery. Already about more than 16 municipalities, they are under administration for corruption and malpractices and failure to deliver services to the people. And as well as the unemployment has escalated now in excess of more than 40%. If I'm not mistaken, it should be closer to 60%. So the coming of the pandemic in the last year or so has actually exacerbated the anger, which has been building in people, because of the lockdown restrictions, where if you recall very well that South Africa, more than 70% of the population are poor and eat every day. These people, they earn a living by earning $1 a day and they buy food a day. But the lockdown of them, locking them, confining them to what, it is called a mkuku, a four-room house, a four-corner house, is like a prison without a fridge and the prospects of serving like groceries. It's been very hard for them to understand, to believe that indeed COVID-19 restrictions has been there to save them. It has been actually on the opposite. So if you look at all these and the history, what I've just alluded to, and also the factions within the ANC and what happened last week of the incarceration of former President Zuma, it was just like a time bomb which came and people exploded. If you look at the looting, it's not necessarily people targeting either those who are anti-Zuma, those who does not support his core, his lobbyists, or they are targeting xenophobic attacks like foreigners, or they are targeting Indian businesses or Indians in particular. These are people who can see from the visuals that have crossed around South Africa to study the conflicts and how conflict starts. You can identify yourself from the footage that people are looting shops to steal a loaf of bread. Mm-hmm. They are looting the shops to steal a bottle of cooking oil. They are looting the shops to loot a grain of rice. So all these things of the causation of what has been happening and the time bomb which has been cooking over a promise which has been deprived over the years because of change of policies and government has exacerbated to the people to explode to do the way they are. In fact, this is just a small thing that has happened. We are yet to see something very bad, not only in South Africa, but the rest of the world. The world must prepare itself, brace itself in terms of the pandemic and the effects of what it has caused in terms of poverty.
All right. Well, Savio, the question still persists. Why are Indians being targeted, or is this an indiscriminate onslaught of the frustration that is being built up? And this is what Dr. Sinkala also alluded to.
Well, I think it's a combination of various factors. And while I agree on some bit with what the doctor said, that it is the fallout of anger by a lot of people in South Africa that are experiencing poverty, I think the targeting of the Indian expats is totally unnecessary. You see, this is bigotry. So what they are doing is primarily attacking the whites and attacking the Indians under the impressions that the Indians have done well for themselves in South Africa, and by virtue of it, the other South Africans have been living in poverty, and that in itself is bigotry. So this hate that has been in South Africa for a very long time is just erupting, And they're targeting the Indians primarily because of this hate that they have towards the white South Africans. And that's a problem because Indians in South Africa